नमस्कार दोस्तों, आप सबका स्वागत है। आज जुलाई 23 है और आज बृहस्पतिवार है, थर्सडे। तो आज का दिन आप सब जानते हैं कि भगवान विष्णु के लिए समर्पित होता है। तो आज हम अपना दिन शुरू करेंगे भगवान विष्णु की वंदना करके, स्तुति करके। तो एक छोटा सा मंत्र है जो भगवान विष्णु के लिए हम रिसाइट करेंगे। आप भी हमारे साथ जुड़िए और इस मंत्र को रिसाइट करिए। तो चलिए स्टार्ट करते हैं। पहले अपने हाथ जोड़ लीजिए और भगवान जी को याद करिए और उनका नमन करते हैं। अब हम आंख बंद करके 11 दफा इस मंत्र का उच्चारण करना है। मंत्र मैं पहले बता देता हूँ। ओम वासुदेवाय नमः। बहुत ही आसान है। ओम वासुदेवाय नमः। चलिए अब हाथ जोड़ लीजिए। हम शुरुआत करते हैं। ओम वासुदेवाय नमः। 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 तो दोस्तों, हमारी आज की जो स्तुति है, जो पूजा है, वो समाप्त हुई। तो अब आपसे विदा लेते हैं इस वीडियो में, लेकिन जल्दी ही मिलते हैं दूसरे वीडियो में। आपका दिन शुभ रहे, इसी कामना के साथ नमस्कार। Hello friends, Namaskaram. The Indian government has officially placed a temporary ban on the messaging app Telegram. But why is this happening and how does it relate to upcoming NEET re-examination of 2026? In this video, we break down the government latest crackdown on the exam fraud, the specific role Telegram played in spreading the misinformation, and what this means for students appearing for the NEET retest on June 21st. We will also explain the timestamp fraud, that technique that led to the unprecedented moves. Let's go and discuss this further. If you have tried to open Telegram in India over last 24 hours and hit a wall, you aren't alone. As of June 16th, 2026, the Indian government has initiated a temporary nationwide blackout of Telegram messaging platform. But this isn't just about tech glitches. This is a massive coordinated government crackdown aimed directly at one of the most high stakes event in the country, which is the NEET UG examination, and this time it is actually going through re-examination because of situations that we all know. Why would the government shut down one of the most popular messaging app in the country just days before the major exam? Is it overkill, or is it the only way to save the integrity of the national test system? Today, we are breaking down the India versus Telegram showdown, explaining the secret timestamp fraud that forced this hand and what this means for the millions of students preparing for June 21st. Let's dive in. But before that, friends, if you have reached this far, please let us know from which city you have tuned in and watching this video. To understand the ban, we have to look back at May 3rd, 2026. India held its annual NEET UG medical entrance exam, but the results were eventually annulled following a widespread report of paper leak. For millions of students, this was a disaster. Months of preparation and family savings were suddenly in a limbo. The government and the National Testing Agency, which is NTA, announced re-examination scheduled for June 21st, 2026. But as that date approached, the intelligence report began to paint a disturbing picture. According to the government agency and the NTA, the Telegram, which boasts a massive user base in India, was being weaponized. Cheating syndicates were setting up channels with names like Paper Leaked Neat or Private Mafia, aggressively targeting desperate students. They weren't just spreading rumors, they were actively trying to extort families for access to the re exam paper. A paper that NTA maintained, that is perfectly secure within the official chain. Now, let's talk about the specific loopholes that led to this unprecedented move. It is called the timestamp fraud, and it is a brilliant but malicious bit of social engineering. And here is how it works. A scammer creates a Telegram channel. They post a vague, harmless message days before the exam. Once the actual exam concludes and the real questions are out in the public domain, the administrator goes back to their old pre exam message and edit it to insert the legitimate questions, because the Telegram allows channel admission administrator to edit messages without changing the original timestamp. It creates a terrifying illusion. It looks like they had the paper before the exam even started. This caused massive public panic and allowed scammers to demand lakhs of rupees from vulnerable parents. The government realized that taking down individual channels was like playing a game of whack-a-mole. You delete 10, right? And 20 more pop up. So they decided to cut the power to the whole platform until the exams were safe. This isn't a permanent ban, it's a surgical strike using Section 69A of IT Act of India legal system, which gives the government the power to block online content in the interest of public order and security. The restriction is double layered. Number one is the full app block. This stays in effect until June 22nd, 2026, just after the NEET re-exam is completed. Number two is a feature block. Government has also ordered a Telegram to disable the message editing feature in India until June 30th of 2026 to ensure that even after the ban is lifted, scammers cannot retrospectively manipulate their message history to create more fake leak evidence. Agencies like the I4C, which is Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center, and state police are coordinating this crackdown. While the tech enthusiasts have criticized the ban as a band-aid solution that impacts ordinary users, the NTA has labeled it to a measure of the last resort to protect the integrity of the medical entrance process. If you are a student, and here is the bottom line for you, especially if you are a student, the NTA has repeatedly stated that there are no paper leaks, and any claims you see on social media, even those that look verified by timestamp, is almost certainly a scam. Do not fall for these extortion attempts. If you see any suspicious activity, call the National Cybercrime Helpline at 1930 or report it on an official portal. Rely only on the official NTA website for your updates. Whether you agree with the government move or think it is an overreach, one thing is very clear: the digital battlefield for exam security has changed forever. What do you think? Was blocking Telegram the right move to stop the fraud, or should the government have focused on some other solution? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more tech and policy breakdown, and I will see you very soon in the next one. Friends, is a new trade war which is dubbed as 2.0 beginning? As the US radically rewrites its global tariff rules, India is launching a high-stake diplomatic mission to Washington DC, and therefore in this video we dive deep into why an Indian delegation led by Chief Negotiator Mr. Darpan Jain is rushing to US capital on April 20th, 2026 to save $1 billion trade deal. So what is happening now? Well, the trade landscape between the world's two largest democracies has shifted overnight following a landmark US Supreme Court ruling that limited the president's emergency tariff powers. The Trump administration has introduced a new 10 to 15% global surcharge under Section 122 of the Trade Act. Now, this move has effectively reset the 18% tariff framework India and US agreed upon during the early February 2026. Now, India is fighting to maintain its competitive edge as other global players face the same flat rate. Let us discuss this further. On February 7th, 2026, the world thought the trade war between India and the US was finally over. Headlines around the globe announced the breakthrough. Washington would slash tariff on Indian goods to be a flat 18%, and in exchange the trade king and the Make in India giant would enter a new era of cooperation. But in the global politics, nothing is final until the ink is dry. Fast forward to today, that 18% deal, it's practically on the paper shredder right now. Why? Because of the US Supreme Court just dropped a legal bombshell that stripped the president of his emergency tariff powers. In response, the Washington has hit the reset button, rewriting the global trade playbook with a brand new 10% global surcharge. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. Now, as you watch this, a high-level Indian delegation led by Chief Negotiator Mr. Darpan Jain is on a plane to Washington DC. They would land on April 20th, and their mission would be to save India's 87 billion export market from being swallowed by a trade war 2.0. To understand why India is rushing to DC, we have to look at what happened in the courts. For over a year, the Trump administration used the International Emergency Economic Power Act (IEEPA) to slap reciprocal tariffs on countries including India. But on February 20th, 2026, the US Supreme Court ruled 6-3 that the president cannot use this act to raise revenue generating tariffs. It was a massive rebuke of the executive power. Overnight, the legal foundation for the India-US deal, the one that promised an 18% rates, evaporated. The administration had to halt all IEEPA collections. But if you think this means free trade is back, think again. The administration immediately pivoted to Section 122 of the Trade Act of 1974. This is a global surcharge of 10% on all imports from all countries to address international payment problems. It's valid for 150 days. You might be asking, wait, if the new US tariff is only 10%, isn't that better for India than 18% they agreed to in February? So on paper, yes, but in the world of trade, it is all about comparative advantages. Under the old deal, India was going to pay 18% while its competitor like China or Vietnam might have been paying 25% or even 50% in certain cases. The gap made Indian goods cheaper. But under the new Section 122, everyone pays 10%. Suddenly, India loses its special edge. Furthermore, there is the Section 301 threat. While the 10% global tariff is a temporary fix, the US Trade Representative USTR has launched a fresh investigation into 16 economies, including India. These probes are looking into forced labor and unfair practices. If these investigations go south, India could face even higher punitive tariffs on top of the 10%. And this is why Mr. Darpan Jain and his team are in Washington this week. They aren't just there for coffee, they are there to finalize the bilateral trade agreement and the legal text. And here are the three main fires they need to put out. First is the solar crisis. The Indian solar module exports to US have already crashed by 35% this year due to fluctuating duties. India needs a stable long-term rate to protect its growing green energy industry. Number two, the Russian oil factor. The US previously hit India with punitive duties because of the India's purchase of Russian oil. While some of those rolled back in February, the new section, which is 301 probe, could bring them back under a different name. And third is the big ticket energy deal. So in exchange for lower tariff, India is looking at buying massive amount of US LNG and nuclear tech. This energy for export swaps is the heart of the deal. India isn't just waiting on the Americans, while DC talks are happening, Commerce Secretary Mr. Rajesh Agarwal has confirmed the 2026 roadmap. And it's very interesting. First is the India UK FTA, expected to go live in May 2026. Second is the India New Zealand FTA, set to be signed in April, especially on April 27. Third is the EU and Oman FTA. Negotiations are in full swing and final stages. So India is essentially telling Washington, we want to be your partner, but we aren't putting all our eggs in one basket. With the trade deficit between the two nations narrowing down to 34 billion from 40 billion last year, India has some leverage, but the US is playing the hardball. The next 72 hours in Washington will determine the future of your wallet as well as my wallet. From the price of iPhone, even though it is assembled in India, to the cost of Indian textiles and pharma in the US, everything is on the line. Is this the start of a trade war 2.0, or it is just growing pain of a new America first architecture? One thing is certain, the era of easy, predictable global trade is over. So friends, what do you think? Should India stand its own ground, or should it offer more concessions to secure the US market? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into shifting world of global power. Thank you for joining live. Thank you for watching. Before I wind up this session, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back.
In the furnace of ancient India, where the sages were scientists and labs were temples of an inquiry, one name glows like a molten gold: Nagarjuna. Not the philosopher of Mahayan fame, but the metallurgist and alchemist whose experiments with mercury, iron, and transmutation blurred the line between mysticism and the material science. Legend places him in a Vidarbha and Satvahana dynasty, working in hidden labs, chasing immortality, while perfecting techniques that still echoes in modern metallurgy. In 2026, as nanotechnology, refined alloys, and imitation jewelry thrives on his ancient method, Nagarjuna's story reminds us that the quest to transform matter is timeless as human spirit itself. So let's find out more. In the annals of Indian science, Nagarjuna stands as a figure both enigmatic and luminous. While the name Nagarjuna is often associated with great Buddhist philosopher of 2nd century CE, another tradition celebrate him as a metallurgist and alchemist of medieval India. The Nagarjuna, remembered in text and oral tradition, was a master of rasayan, the ancient Indian science of alchemy, and a pioneer in the metallurgy whose contribution continues to echo into the 21st century. Born, according to some account, in Vidarbha and later associated with Satvahan dynasty, Nagarjuna is said to have established labs in South India. Archaeological evidence from Nagalwadi in Maharashtra suggests that he conducted experiment in metallurgy and chemistry, working with substances like iron, mercury, and his curiosity was not limited to metals. He sought an elixir of immortality, invisibility, and transformation, blending mystical aspiration with a rigorous experimentation. So if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you are tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us to determine the reach of our channel. So moving forward, his most celebrated text is Rasa Ratnakar, is a compilation of chemical knowledge. In it, Nagarjuna discussed the acid, the metals, and the process of purification. He described a method for extracting gold, silver, tin, and copper, and even outlined the distillation techniques. These writings reveal a mind deeply engaged with the material world, yet always linking a chemical process to the spiritual purification. For Nagarjuna, the act of refining metal mirrored the refining or refinement of soul. Impurities must be removed, whether in the matter or in human character. One of his most intriguing contribution was gold shine mechanism. Through experiment, he discovered the ways to transmute the base metal into substance that resemble gold. While not true transmutation, this process produced a gold-like sheen technology that remarkably is still used today in the jewelry industry for imitation of ornament. Thus, a technique born in ancient labs continues to shape the modern aesthetics. Nagarjuna's influence extended beyond the metallurgy. He was also a physician, a yogi, contributing to Ayurveda through texts like Yoga Satak and the Jeev Sutra. His integration of chemistry with medicine enriched Indian medieval traditions, offering insight into the preparation of compound and the treatment. In this way, he embodied the interdisciplinary spirit, a scientist, a healer, a philosopher, rolled into one. In 2026, his legacy feels strikingly modern. His principle of articulated systematic experimentation, purification, and transformation resonate with the contemporary chemistry and the material science. His vision of linking matter and spirit anticipates today's holistic approach, where the science and philosophy are not seen as an opposite, but as a contemporary path of understanding. Moreover, his experiment in distillation and metallurgy remind us that India's scientific heritage is not peripheral, but central to the global history of science. Nagarjuna, the metallurgist, thus emerged as a bridge builder between philosophy and chemistry, between ancient aspiration and modern technologies. His labs may have been simple by today's standards, but his imagination was vast, reaching for the immortality and the cosmic truth. while the grounding itself in the practical art of working with the metals. In honoring him, we recognize not only as a pioneer of Indian alchemy, but also a timeless symbol of human curiosity, the drive to transform, to refine, and to discover. Nagarjuna's alchemy was more than a pursuit of gold. It was a pursuit of knowledge itself. In 2026, as we refine materials at nanoscale, explore new alloy for space exploration, we walk a path he helped to lay centuries ago, providing the fire of inquiry he kindled still that inquiry which he kindled that still actually burns within us in 2026. We have come to the end. Please like and subscribe this channel. Look forward for your comments. But before we end, few words about our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
Sun is not silent. It speaks in the burst of invisible thunder. For centuries, we have seen its flare and storm, but Parker Solar Probe has now tuned our ears to a deeper frequency. Hidden within the blazing corona, magnetic switchbacks snaps like a cosmic whisper, unleashing radio waves that ripple across the solar system. And these bursts are more than a whisper of plasma. They are sun's coded signals carrying secrets of its magnetic heart and warning of storm yet to come. In this revelation, Parker has transformed our star from blazing sphere into a storyteller. Its switchbacks composing a hidden symphony of light and sound. Let's find out more about this. The sun, our nearest star, has always been a restless giant. Its surface boiling with plasma, its atmosphere alive with storms. For centuries, astronauts have watched solar flares and coronal mass ejection ripple outward, sometimes striking Earth with a magnetic tempest. Yet beneath its familiar drama lies subtle mysteries, whisper of radio waves, flickers of magnet turbulence, and that only the most daring spacecraft can unveil. The Parker Solar Probe, humanity's closest emissary to the sun, has now peeled back another layer of its enigma, revealing hidden magnetic switchbacks that gives rise to solar radio burst. So radio bursts are sudden and outpouring of electromagnetic energies and streaming across space like invisible thunderclap. They are often triggered when the charged particle accelerate along the magnetic field lines, releasing energy in the form of radio waves. For decades, scientists knew these bursts existed, but their precise origin remained elusive. Were they born in the corona tangled loop? Did they emerge from the shock wave racing through the solar wind? But now, Parker Solar Probe diving deep and close to the sun's surface has provided the most intimate clues yet. So if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us to determine reach of our channel. So going forward, as the probe skimmed through the solar atmosphere, its instruments detected abrupt revelation, abrupt uprising the magnetic field. Switchbacks like a king in the garden hose. These switchbacks are not gentle bend, but actually sharp zigzags, flipping the direction of the magnetic field from a brief for a brief moment before snapping back. Each switchback carries plasma along with it, accelerating particles and steering the turbulence. The new data suggests that these magnetic switchbacks are fertile ground for radio burst, miniature accelerator that hurl electrons into spiral, producing the radio signal that astronomers detect across the solar system. So these insight reshapes our understanding and space weather. Now going forward, the discovery is definitely profound. Its link with the two previously disconnected phenomena. On one hand, switchbacks were known as the oddities in the solar wind, puzzling features that hint at the chaotic dynamics near the sun. And on the other hand, radio bursts were catalogued as a distinct emissions useful for diagnosing the solar storm, but poorly understood in origin. The Parker finding weave them together, and the switchbacks are now not mere curiosities but engine of radio emission, shaping the very soundtrack of sun's activity. So radio bursts are not just academic curiosity, as we have already mentioned. They are interface or with the communication, navigation system, even the spacecraft operations. By tracing them back to the magnetic switchbacks, scientists gain predictive power. If switchbacks can be mapped and modeled, then the radio burst and the storm they create can be anticipated with a greater accuracy. So in essence, Parker has given us a new diagnostic tool, a way to listen to the sun's magnetic heartbeat and foresee its disruptive pulse. The implication extend beyond Earth. Radio bursts ripple through the heliosphere and the vast bubble of solar influence that envelops the planet. They may play a role for accelerating cosmic rays, shaping a planetary magneto atmosphere, and even the influencing the chemistry of atmosphere. So for Mars, with its magnetic shield, such burst could be particularly consequential and steering its upper atmosphere and affecting its future. Human explorer, and that is a good info data for the human explorer and the astronauts. For distinct spacecraft, understanding radio burst is vital for shielding electronics and maintaining communication link. And this is also a poetic dimension to its discovery. The sun, often imagined as a blazing sphere of light, now reveals itself as a symphony of invisible signals. Its magnetic field twists and snaps like violin strings, producing radio notes that echo across the space. So, Parker's solar probe, actually braving the furnace of Corona, has become our ear pressing against the star, catching whispers that were once lost in the cosmic din. Each switchback is a stanza, each burst is a refrain and composing a hidden music of the sun. So looking ahead, scientists will combine Parker's data with observation from other missions such as Solar Orbiter to build a full picture. Together, these spacecraft will actually triangulate the origin of burst and map the geometry of switchbacks and refine model of solar wind. So the ultimate goal is not to understand the sun, but to live safely within its influence. As humanity ventures deeper into space, towards the moon, Mars, and beyond, predicting solar radio burst will be essential as a forecasting storms on the earth. So in a grand narrative of exploration, Parker's discovery is reminder that even the familiar star hold secrets. The sun, which has actually shining upon the earth for billions of years, is still teaching us how its magnetic heart beats. And hidden switchbacks, once invisible, now stands revealed as an architect of radio storm. And with each revelation, we drew closer to mastering the cosmic weather that shapes our destiny among the stars. So in the end, Parker's solar probe has shown us that the sun is not just a blazing sphere of light, but a restless storyteller weaving its tale through the magnetic switchbacks and radio burst. Each hidden kink in this field is a spark of revelation. Each burst a message carried across the solar system. By decoding these signals, we are not only learning to predict the storm that shapes our cosmic environment, but also hearing for the first time the sun's secret voice. The discovery reminds us that even the most familiar star still holds mysteries of waiting to be unveiled, and with every orbit, the Parker brings us closer to understanding the rhythm of our star's eternal symphony. So, for today, we have come to the end. Magnetic strings and cosmic echoes. That's what is very amazing and very kind of good to really know more about it. So thanks for watching. Please please like and subscribe our channel. See you in the next one. But before we end, few words from our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends, the United Arab Emirates bombshell the announcement to exit the OPEC and OPEC Plus effective May 1st, 2026. And this has sent shockwave through the global energy markets. This historic move marks the end of nearly 60 years of membership and signals a massive shift in the geopolitical landscape of the Middle East. In this video, we dive deep into why the UAE is walking away, the rising tension with Saudi Arabia, and how this decision, combined with ongoing Strait of Hormuz crisis, could redefine the oil prices forever. Let's go. Today, the global energy landscape didn't just shift, it has actually fractured. In a bombshell announcement that has sent shockwaves from Wall Street to Riyadh, the UAE, United Arab Emirates, has officially declared its exit from OPEC and OPEC Plus alliance effective May 1st, 2026. This isn't just a policy change, it's a geopolitical earthquake. For nearly 60 years, the UAE has been the cornerstone of the world's most powerful oil cartel. But as of this morning, Abu Dhabi is walking away, leaving the Saudi-led organization in what many are calling its biggest crisis since 1970. Why now? What does this mean for your gas prices? And is this the beginning of the end of OPEC? Today we are breaking down the UAE declaration of independence and the massive blow it deals to the global oil order. If you've reached this far, friends, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you're watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Now moving on, to understand why this is happening, we have to look at the growing tension between UAE and the cartel, which is de facto leader Saudi Arabia. For years, the UAE has been frustrated. They have invested billions into expanding their production capacity, aiming for 5 million barrels per day by 2027. But under OPEC's strict quota system, they have been forced to keep much of that oil in the ground. The UAE message is clear. We have the oil, we have the tech, we want to sell it. The official statement from the Emirates news agency emphasizes a strategic and economic recalibration. Essentially, the UAE believes their national interest, which is monetizing their reserves, while demand is very high at this point in time. So they want to make sure that they monetize well in time. No longer, align with the production cuts demanded by the rest of the group. By leaving UAE is better on by itself. They are trading the security of the cartel for flexibility because of the free market and other pressures, right? We cannot ignore the elephant in the room, and that is the timing. This exit comes in the midst of massive regional energy shock. With the ongoing conflict involving Iran and the non-closure of almost total closure of the Strait of Hormuz, the global supply chain is already under immense pressure. OPEC production fell by staggering 27% in March alone. Some experts like Michael Brown of Pepperstone argue that while the UAE wants to pump more, actually shipping that product through the blockade, through the strait, is nearly impossible right now. This makes the exit even more of a strategic pivot. The UAE is positioning itself as a reliable, independent alternative to the cartels precisely when the world is desperate for stability. By breaking away now, they distance themselves from the collective political baggages of OPEC while the US and Israel navigate the escalating situations with Iran. This is a massive blow to Saudi led dominance. For decades, OPEC has moved as one, with Riyadh pulling the strings, but with Qatar leaving in 2019 and now the UAE, the third largest producer in the group, following suit, the Saudi-led moniker is losing its weight. So, is this is going to be sustainable? Is there a price war on the horizon? History says maybe. When OPEC members disagree on quotas, we often see a race to the bottom, where countries flood the market with cheap oil to grab market share. If the UAE starts pumping its full 5 million barrel capacity once the regional conflict subsides, it could put immense downward pressure on the global prices. Something Saudi Arabia, which needs high price to fund its Vision 2030 projects, desperately wants to avoid. So, what does this mean for you and me, rest of the people in the world? In the short term, volatility. Market hate uncertainty, and the exit of a major player like UAE creates a massive vacuum. Crude oil futures are already jumping as traders try to price in a world without unified OPEC. However, in the long run, this could lead to more competitive pricing. Without OPEC quotas holding them back, the UAE is free to be a swing producer, offering their cost competitive lower carbon barrels to the highest bidder. If other members see the UAE succeeding outside the cartel, we could see a domino effect where Kuwait or Iraq start questioning their own membership. The OPEC crack isn't just a headline, it is the possible start of a decentralized energy market. The UAE exit effective May 1st is the gamble of the historic proportions. They are betting that the future of energy belongs to the flexible and independent, not collective. As the sun set on nearly 60 years of UAE OPEC cooperation, a new era of energy geopolitics begins now. So, is OPEC dead? Very big question, right? Or will Saudi Arabia find a way to rein in the remaining members? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Does this mean cheaper gas or more global instability? In either cases, I would like to know what are your thoughts. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification. We will be tracking the market reaction and the situation in the Strait of Hormuz every day as the story develops. Thanks for watching, thanks for joining live, and I will catch you again in the next one. Before I part ways today, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends, let me ask you, are you striving for perfection or are you seeking the essence of the leadership? It's a very profound question, and therefore to answer this, we dive deep into one of the most profound leadership lessons from Bhagavad Gita. While many CEOs focus on KPIs, scaling and operational perfection, the Gita reveals a deeper level of mastery that only a fraction of leaders ever reach. How this works? Let's explore this further. To most CEO spending their entire lives, climbing the ladder. They climb the corporate ladder, they climb the revenue charts, and they climb the industry rankings. But here is the uncomfortable truth. Reaching the top of the mountain is not the same thing as mastering the mountains. In the world of high-stake business, we are obsessed with perfection. We want perfect systems, perfect quarters, and perfect products. But ancient wisdom suggests that the perfection is merely the entrance fee. It is not the final destination. Thousands of years ago, on a battlefield of a different kind, Bhagwan Krishna spoke a verse that serves as a startling wake-up call for the modern leaders. And this is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita chapter 7 verse 3, and it says, quote starts, among the thousands of men hardly one strive for perfection, and of those who strive and succeed hardly one knows me in essence, quote close. Today we are going to look at why most leaders stop at the first half of that verse, and why the essence is the secret to the world's most enduring legacies. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. Let's look at the first part of the verse. Bhagwan Krishna acknowledges that even striving for perfection is rare. In business, striving for perfection is what we call the operational excellence. It is the Six Sigma, the lean management, the 80-hour work week. Out of the thousands of entrepreneurs, only a handful actually have the discipline to build a perfect machine. If you are a CEO, you are likely mastered this. You know how to optimize, you know how to win, etc., etc. But here is a trap. The perfection is static. Perfection is about following the rules of the game better than anyone else. And if you strive for perfection, you are a master of the mechanics, but you are not yet master of the essence. Most CEO get stuck here because the rewards for perfections are high. You get the bonuses, accolades, and the market share. You think you made it, but the Gita warns us that this is the only first filter. Now the second half of the verse, quote starts, even amongst those who have attained the perfection, hardly a soul understand me in essence, quote close. For a CEO, what is this essence? If perfection is how, essence is the why, and if perfection is the form, essence is the force. Think of the difference between CEO who builds a successful phone company and someone like Steve Jobs. Thousands could be built a functional smartphones, etc. That is perfection. But Jobs understood the essence of human connection and beauty, and that is the essence. In Sanskrit, this is known as tattva. Now let's discuss about how to understand the essence. Seeing the invisible is the first aspect of understanding. Knowing the pulse of your culture when you aren't in the room. That is such a key here. Knowing the pulse of your culture when you're not even watching, right? Number two is predicting the shift, understanding the fundamental laws of human desire before the data shows them. Third is detached action, leading with a sense of purpose that isn't tied to the ego of the result, right? Most leaders miss this because they are too busy looking at the success. They are blinded by their own brilliance. Why is it that hardly one understands the essence? Because understanding the essence requires unlearning. To reach the perfection, you need a strong ego. You need to believe you are the smartest person in the room. But to understand the essence, you must surrender the ego. You have to admit that the business doesn't move because of you, but through you. In the Gita, Bhagwan Krishna is the source of all the things. In business, the essence is the fundamental truth of your industry and your impact on humanity. When a CEO understands the essence, they stop reacting to competitors, they start responding to the truth. They move from managing people to moving souls. So ask yourself today, where are you on this path? Are you the one of the thousands who hasn't yet started the journey towards perfection? Or are you among the successful few who have built a perfect machine but feels like something is still missing? The Gita doesn't tell us this is, to discourage us. It tells us this to show how much more is possible. The greatest leader in history, the one who we talked for centuries, were the ones who moved past the how and touched the essence. They didn't just build the companies; they understood the fundamental laws of universe and applied them to their work. Your challenge this week, therefore, is look past your spreadsheet, look past your KPI, ask yourself, what is the essence of what we are doing here? Because perfection is the destination, but essence is the beginning. So friends, thanks for watching, and if you're already moved from perfection to essence, subscribe for more leadership insight from world greatest wisdom traditions, which is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to send it across. Before I wind up, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. हेलो दोस्तों, नमस्कारम। आप सभी का स्वागत है। और आज सोमवार है, 29 जून है। तो आपको सबको पता है कि जो सोमवार का जो दिन होता है वो भगवान शंकर के लिए समर्पित होता है। तो आज के दिन हम उनकी पूजा, उनकी स्तुति कर सकते हैं। तो आज हम अपना दिन शुरू करेंगे भगवान शिव की आराधना करके। और हर रोज की तरह हम इस एक मंत्र का उच्चारण करेंगे। आप भी मेरे साथ जुड़ें और इस मंत्र का उच्चारण करें। 11 दफा करेंगे। ये मैं काउंटर यूज करता हूँ। आप देखिए, आप जैसे मर्जी करना चाहें कर सकते हैं, आप माला का इस्तेमाल करें, लेकिन याद रहे 11 दफा करना है। और तो चलिए हम भगवान का नमन करते हैं, हाथ जोड़ के उनका ध्यान करते हैं, और अब हम अपना मंत्र चालू करते हैं। ये महामृत्युंजय का मंत्र होगा। दोस्तों चलिए आंखें बंद कर लीजिए और अपना जाप शुरू कर दीजिए। ओम त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्युर्मोक्षीयमामृतात् सज्ञो जातं प्रपागमि भगवन्तं मृत्युं जय शिवम् अभयामि। ओम त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्युर्मोक्षीयमामृतात् सज्ञो जातं प्रपागमि भगवन्तं मृत्युं जय शिवम् अभयामि। ओम त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्युर्मोक्षीयमामृतात् सज्ञो जातं प्रपागमि भगवन्तं मृत्युं जय शिवम् अभयामि। ओम त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्युर्मोक्षीयमामृतात् सज्ञो जातं प्रपागमि भगवन्तं मृत्युं जय शिवम् अभयामि। ओम त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्युर्मोक्षीयमामृतात् सज्ञो जातं प्रपागमि भगवन्तं मृत्युं जय शिवम् अभयामि। ओम त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्युर्मोक्षीयमामृतात् सज्ञो जातं प्रपागमि भगवन्तं मृत्युं जय शिवम् अभयामि। ओम त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्युर्मोक्षीयमामृतात् सज्ञो जातं प्रपागमि भगवन्तं मृत्युं जय शिवम् अभयामि। ओम त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्युर्मोक्षीयमामृतात् सज्ञो जातं प्रपागमि भगवन्तं मृत्युं जय शिवम् अभयामि। ओम त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्युर्मोक्षीयमामृतात् सज्ञो जातं प्रपागमि भगवन्तं मृत्युं जय शिवम् अभयामि। ओम त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्युर्मोक्षीयमामृतात् सज्ञो जातं प्रपागमि भगवन्तं मृत्युं जय शिवम् अभयामि। ओम त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्युर्मोक्षीयमामृतात् सज्ञो जातं प्रपागमि भगवन्तं मृत्युं जय शिवम् अभयामि। तो हमारी पूजा आज 29 जून की सोमवार की समाप्त होती है। तो अब हम अपना दिन शुरू करेंगे। आपका दिन भी मंगलमय रहे और लाभ की तरह बढ़े, इस कामना के साथ मैं आपसे अब अनुमति चाहता हूँ। मिलता हूँ अगले ही वीडियो में जल्द ही। Hello friends and namaskar. Let me ask you, is Mars actually resource poor? While the red planet has plenty of dust and iron, building a self-sustaining high-tech civilization requires rare metals that are nearly impossible to find on the Martian surface. In this video, we dive deep into the latest research explaining why the asteroid mining isn't just a sci-fi dream. It is a mandatory pillar for the future of Martian economy as well as the Martian colony of humans on the surface of Mars. From platinum group metals to essential rare earth element, we explore the logistics of the space to space supply chain and why the first trillionaires will likely be those who bridge the gap between the asteroid belt and the Martian colonies. Let us explore this further. Imagine it's the year 2050. We have a city on Mars known as Argyre City. It has several domes, hydroponic farms, and thousands of residents. But there is a silent crisis brewing. To build the next generation of quantum computers for the city's grid or to repair an advanced medical scanner in the colony's hospital, we need something Mars simply doesn't have: rare earth metals and platinum group elements. Mars is often called the Earth's twin, sort of, but geologically it's a very different beast. While Mars has iron, aluminum in abundance, it lacks the billions of years of complex plate tectonics and the hydrothermal activity that concentrated the rare minerals into ore bodies on the surface of the Earth. Today we are exploring why the dream of self-sustaining Martian civilization will fail without a strategic industrial backyard, which is the asteroid belt. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. Why can't we just ship it from Earth? To understand the Martian economy, you have to understand the gravity well. Earth is a massive planet with a deep gravity well. To launch a single kilogram of material from Earth to Mars costs thousands of dollars in fuel and the specialized hardware. And we also have to understand the economic well. The shipping heavy industrial equipment or bulk raw materials from Earth is a recipe for bankruptcy. And there is also a distance problem. We can only launch every 26 months when the planet aligns. A Martian colony cannot wait for 2 years for a spare part made of iridium or palladium, etc. This is where the asteroid belt comes in. It sits next door to Mars, and more importantly, it has almost zero gravity. It is energetically cheaper to bring a massive asteroid to Martian orbit than it is to bring to a small crate of supplies from surface of the Earth. The recent study suggested that for Mars to move beyond a frontier outpost and become a true economy, it needs a steady supply of materials that are rare on its surface. Platinum groups metals, which are also known as PGMs, these elements like platinum, palladium, iridium, and essentially these are high in demand for high-end electronics, fuel cells, and chemical catalysts. There are other things like volatiles. While Mars have water ice, asteroids are rich in ammonia and hydrocarbons, which are the building blocks of advanced fertilizers and plastics. Then there are third advantage here, which is the structural need. To build a massive radiation shielded city, we need specialized alloys. Asteroid like 16 Psi or literal metal worlds containing more iron, nickel and gold than all the mines on Earth combined. In this mandatory Martian economy, the surface of Mars is for living, but the space around Mars is for manufacturing. Imagine orbital refineries circling the red planet. Robotic tugboats capture the small metal-rich asteroids and bring them into Mars orbit. Here in 0G, we can actually use concentrated solar mirrors to melt the rocks and extract pure metals. We have to, at this point, also talk about 0G manufacturing. Some materials are actually easier to produce in space because you don't have to fight gravity. There are several advantages also which is related to logistics. Mars becomes the administrative and residential hub, while the Martian moon Phobos and Deimos serves as a landing area for these engineers and also for loading docks for asteroids mining fleet. The history tells us that the wealth follow infrastructure. The first trillionaires of the Martian era won't just be those who build the houses. They will be the ones who control the supply chain of rare minerals. And then therefore there will be era of strategic alliances. We are already seeing the groundwork for this today with partnership between legacy aerospace companies and AI driven startup focusing on agentic AI, which are autonomous systems that can mine those rocks without human intervention. Then it will also create economic sovereignty. For a Martian colony to be truly independent of Earth, it must control its own resources. Asteroid mining provides the resource independence, and therefore Martian colony can become a separate country, sort of separate from Earth. Building a city on Mars is arguably the hardest thing humanity will ever attempt. It is not just a feat of engineering, it is the feat of economics. A Martian city without asteroid mining is just a high-tech camp on life support. But a Martian city with asteroid mining, that a civilization becomes much more advanced and will be resource rich. It's the moment we stop being visitors in space and start being a truly multi-planetary species. So the next time when you look at a shooting star, don't just see a streak of light, see the steel, gold, and the future of our next home. My name is EK. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining live. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the future of space and strategy. In case you have any opinion or a question, please do not hesitate to send it across in the comment section below. Before I go, I will like to speak few words about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
Hello, friends. Today we are discussing a very important topic, and this topic is about no contact. So to actually begin with this, they didn't just stop calling because they lost interest. They stopped because your energetic frequency is accidentally pushing them away. You are staring at a silent phone, wondering whether it is all went wrong and where it actually was wrong, where I was wrong. So ghosting creates a stagnant longing that traps you in a low vibrational desperation. But there is a way to bridge that gap. Silence isn't like a dead end. It is a mirror reflecting a karmic blockage you can clear right now. We will decode that the tarot to reveal exactly how to manifest a genuinely reply through a high vibrational ailment. Today, we are using spiritual alchemy to flip the script and make your energy irresistible. So, let's find out more. Sometimes silence on the other end of the phone isn't about love fading. It is about energy misalignment. And when communications suddenly halt, what you are experiencing is often an energetic wall, a barrier built by mismatched frequencies. And it is not that affection has disapproved, rather a vibration between you and the other person has shifted, creating a static that blocks the natural flow of connection. So in these moments, many fall into a trap of desperate vibrations. The frantic energy of wanting, needing, and chasing send out a signal that repel rather than attract. So instead of drawing their attention, this anxious frequency pushes them further away and keeping their phone silent and your heart restless. So it is not a rejection, it is resonance. So the more you panic, the more the universe mirror that panic back to you. So traditionally, reaching out, calls, text, and long explanations rarely work when the deeper karmic connection is tangled in unresolved emotional clutter. So if the bond is blocked by past wound, unspoken truth, or lingering doubts, no amount of surface level effort can break through these barriers, these walls. The silence isn't a punishment also. It is a pause, a cosmic invitation to clear your own energy first. And the fastest way to get a text back isn't about pressing send, it about shifting your frequency. So it's not about you send and then you just wait for the reply. But it is about shifting your frequency. And when you release the desperation and stop into calm, confident energy, you dissolve the wall. And that is something, a remedy for all the people who are experiencing no contact situations. So by tending your spirit, balancing your emotions and radiating clarity, you invite the communication to return naturally. So the phone buzzing again will happen not because you chased it, but because you aligned with it. So if you have reached this far, please also tell us from which city you are tuned in. That will help us to determine the reach of our channel. So now continue with your this kind of situation, which is no connection and you feel that there's no relation or no love. So silence is a communication, the silence in communication is not the end of a connection. It is the universe way of asking you to pause, to recalibrate and to realign. When calls stop and text fade, it is really about love disappearing. It's no love you may feel, but it is about energy demanding balance. The frantic chase only deepens the gap, while the calm presence dissolve it. So traditional outreach cannot pierce karmic clutter. But self-clarity definitely can. So the fastest way to hear from them again is not through pressing and sending the kind of messages or calling them, but through a shift from your vibration. And when your spirit steadies, when your mind clears, and when your heart radiates trust, the wall falls apart, it falls away, and the message message you have been waiting for from your dear, from your partner, will find its way back to you. So this is for today. I hope you will actually will be benefited by this lesson. So we have come to the end. Please like and subscribe our channel. We look forward for your comments on this topic, and see you very soon with the next one. Bye bye.
हेलो दोस्तों, नमस्कारम। आप सभी का स्वागत है। आज हमारे सामने एक बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट क्वेश्चन है जिसका आंसर हमें ढूंढना बहुत ही ज़रूरी है। ये क्वेश्चन है, क्या आज के आधुनिक बिजनेस वर्ल्ड में धर्म और रणनीति का कोई स्थान है या कोई स्थान रह गया है? इस क्वेश्चन का आंसर बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट है और हमें इसका डिस्कशन करना है। चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं। एक सीईओ के रूप में अनिश्चितता और कठिन निर्णयों के बीच आप अपना कर्तव्य कैसे निभा सकते हैं? इस वीडियो में हम भगवत गीता की सहायता लेंगे और हम जानेंगे कि भगवान कृष्ण ने हमें क्या सीख दी है, और इस इम्पोर्टेंट सवाल का आंसर खोजने में हम भगवत गीता की सहायता लेंगे। चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं। एक सीईओ की कुर्सी जो होती है काफ़ी चमकदार होती है, बहुत ही अट्रैक्टिव होती है, लेकिन इसके पीछे बहुत ज़्यादा अनसर्टेनिटी होती है, तनाव, हर दिन के जीवन के कठोर निर्णय। वो ये केवल वही जानता है जो उस कुर्सी पे बैठता है। जब जाने कि कोई लीडर है जो बहुत ही हाई हॉट सीट पे बैठा हुआ है। क्या आपने कभी इसको महसूस किया है कि आपकी सारी स्ट्रेटजी फेल हो रही है? मार्केट गिरता ही जा रहा है, आप समझ ही नहीं पा रहे क्या करना है, टीम बिखरने लगी है और सब कुछ गलत हो रहा है, और इसके बीच में एक लकीर खींची हुई है। आप उस लकीर पे क्या करना है वो आप तय करते हैं एज ए सीईओ। आज हम किसी मैनेजमेंट बुक की बात नहीं करेंगे, आज हम बात करेंगे दुनिया के सबसे पुराने, सबसे प्रभावशाली लीडरशिप गाइड भगवत गीता, और खास तौर पे अध्याय 2 चैप्टर 2 श्लोक 31 में, जिसमें किसी भी सीईओ के लिए किसी वेपन की जो सीख दी गई है किसी वेपन से कम नहीं है। एक स्ट्रेटेजिक मास्टर क्लास की तरह ये हमारे सामने है। और इसका सीधा अर्थ है, अगर हम इस कोट को पढ़ें, इस वर्ष को पढ़ें, और कोट स्टार्ट्स, अपने क्षत्रिय धर्म, अपने यानी कि अपने कर्तव्य को देखते हुए भी तुम्हें विचलित नहीं होना चाहिए, क्योंकि धर्म के लिए ही, न्याय के लिए ही युद्ध करने से बेहतर एक योद्धा के लिए और कुछ भी नहीं है। एंड द कोट क्लोज। तो दोस्तों, अगर आप यहाँ तक पहुंचे हैं तो हमें कमेंट करके ज़रूर बताएं कि आप कौन सी सिटी से, कौन सी कंट्री से हमारे साथ जुड़ रहे हैं और किस लैंग्वेज में हमारा वीडियो देख रहे हैं। तो चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं। अब एक सीईओ के तौर पे आप सोचेंगे, मैं युद्ध कैसे कर सकता हूँ, मैं तो बिजनेस कर रहा हूँ। लेकिन जरा रुकिए, आज का बाजार किसी कुरुक्षेत्र से कम नहीं है, और यहाँ पे कट थ्रोट कंपटीशन होता है। नैतिकता बनाम मुनाफा, और टीम के बजाय टीम को बचाए रखने के लिए जद्दोजहद, क्योंकि टीम आपका कॉम्पिटिटर ले जाएगा। तो यही तो वो युद्ध है जो हमें हर दिन लड़ना होता है। सो इस श्लोक में बोला गया है कि क्षत्रिय अर्थ केवल वो नहीं जो तलवार उठाता है, इसका अर्थ वो है जो व्यक्ति जिम्मेदारी लेने से नहीं डरता। जब गीता में भगवान कृष्ण ने अर्जुन से कहा कि तुम विचलित मत हो, तो वो एक सीईओ को सिखा रहे हैं, एक सीईओ की तरह उनको सिखा रहे हैं, और बोल रहे हैं कि आपको विचलित नहीं होना है, कितनी भी बड़ी मार्केट रियलिटी आपके सामने हो। और इन डिसीजन का अंत होना चाहिए। जब कोई बड़ा फैसला लेना हो तो आप स्वधर्म, अपनी, जैसे कि अपनी कंपनी के विजन और मूल्यों को देखें, और अगर फैसला सही है तो परिणाम से मत डरें, डर का त्याग करें, अर्थात कांपना छोड़ें। एक सीईओ को का डर पूरी टीम में फैल जाता है। अगर आप डरे हुए हैं तो आपकी रणनीति भी डरी हुई होगी, क्योंकि न्याय के लिए खड़ा होना है, अक्सर मार्केट में टिके रहने के लिए, और अनिकता, जिसको अनएथिकल बोलते हैं, रास्ते कई दफ़ा अपना लेते हैं कई लोग, क्योंकि खड़ा रहना है और अनएथिकल जो रास्ता होता है वो थोड़ा सा आसान दिखता है। श्लोक कहते हैं कि अधर्म के खिलाफ लड़ना आपका धर्म है। यही आपकी स्ट्रैटेजी होनी चाहिए कि आपके मुनाफे से पहले आपकी वैल्यूज़ को आपको सामने रखना होगा। और अब इसको हम लीडरशिप में लगाएँ, तो इसको हम कैसे इम्प्लीमेंट करें? तो यहाँ पे मैं आपको 3 स्टेप बताऊँगा, जिससे आप इसको धीरे-धीरे अपने जीवन में डाल सकते हैं और अपने डिसीजंस बेटर ले सकते हैं। तो पहला है द पर्पस। पर्पस की परिभाषा करें। जब भी कोई मुश्किल आए, खुद से पूछें, क्या यह फैसला मेरी कंपनी के लिए वैल्यू के अनुरूप है? अगर हाँ, तो पीछे ना हटें, आगे बढ़ें। नंबर 2, कन्विक्शन के साथ लीड करें, क्योंकि आपने पहला पॉइंट आपने देख लिया है। श्लोक कहता है कि न्याय का युद्ध है ये। अगर आपकी रणनीति सही है, तो आप पूरी ताकत से आगे बढ़ें। अधूरे मन से लिए गए लाइफ में उसको फॉलो कर सकते हैं, जो हमें भगवत गीता से इस पर्टिकुलर 2 लाइनों के श्लोक में मिलते हैं। दोबारा से बोलता हूँ, चैप्टर 2 श्लोक 31, और आपको यह याद दिलाता है कि आप एक सीईओ ही नहीं, आप एक लीडर हैं, जिसे न्याय और प्रगति के लिए खड़ा होना है। आज अपने बोर्डरूम में जाने से पहले बस ये याद रखें कि जो कंडीशंस हैं वो कितनी भी कठिन हो, अगर आपका धर्म, आपका कर्तव्य और नैतिकता आप के रास्ते पे आप चल रहे हैं, तो हारने का कोई सवाल ही नहीं पैदा होता। अगर आप लीडर हैं और आपको लगता है कि ये संदेश आपके किसी सहकर्मी या दोस्त के काम आ सकता है, तो उनके साथ शेयर करें और हमें कमेंट करके बताएं कि आपके लिए कॉर्पोरेट धर्म का सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज क्या है। हम उस पर चर्चा करेंगे आने वाले वीडियो में। सब्सक्राइब करना ना भूलें। मिलते हैं जल्दी अगले वीडियो में। तब तक के लिए आपका हम प्रार्थना करेंगे आपका दिन शुभ रहे और आप सक्सेस पाएं। थैंक यू। नमस्कार।
Friends, the universe isn't just expanding, it is going somewhere. From the mysterious great attractor to the inevitable big freeze, where everything actually heading? That's a very big question that we want to address today. In this video, we trace the ultimate trajectory of every star, galaxy, and atom in existence. Have you ever wondered about the final destination of the cosmos while we go about our daily lives? Our Milky Way galaxy is screaming through space at 2.2 million kilometers per hour. But where it is going, what is pulling it? Let us discuss this further.
On a clear night, the universe looks like a photograph, frozen, eternal. But the truth is, we are living inside a cosmic stampede. Right now, you are sitting on a planet that is spinning at 1600 kilometers per hour. The planet is orbiting a star at 107,000 kilometers per hour. The star is dragging us around the center of the Milky Way at 800,000 kilometers per hour, but even the galaxy itself isn't sitting still. Our entire island universe is screaming through the void towards a destination we cannot see, and the overall speed at which we are moving right now is 2.2 million kilometers per hour. Everything, every star, every black hole, every atom is on a journey, but where is it actually going? Is there a finish line, or is the universe just running away from itself? Today, we are tracing the ultimate trajectory of the cosmos from the great attractor to big freeze. We are looking at the final map of the existence itself. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. To understand where we are going, we have to look at our neighborhood. We live in a Lanakia supercluster, a massive web of 100,000 galaxies spanning 500 million light years. For decades, the astronomers noticed something strange. The Milky Way and our neighboring galaxies aren't just drifting, they are being pulled. We are moving towards a specific region of space hidden behind the zone of avoidance. an area obscured by our own galaxy's dust, and therefore we actually cannot see clearly what is where we are going and what is pulling our galaxies. We call this mystery the Great Attractor. It's the gravitational anomaly so massive it is warping the movement of the galaxies across hundreds of millions of light years. It's like cosmic drain, and we are the water circling it. But here is the twist: we will likely never arrive at that point. Why? Because while gravity is trying to pull us together, something else is trying to rip us apart. In the late 1990s, we discovered the universe isn't just expanding, it is accelerating. This is thanks to the dark energy, a mysterious force that makes up roughly about 68% of the universe. Think of it like this: gravity is the glue trying to hold the room together, but the dark energy is the floor constantly stretching in every direction. Because space is expanding faster than the speed of light at great distances, the great attractor is actually losing the tug of war. Eventually, the expansion will become so fast that even the pull of the Laniakea won't be enough to hold us into this particular group. We are entering an era of the great divorce. In few billion years, every galaxy outside our local group will disappear beyond the cosmic horizon. They will be moving away so fast that their light will never reach us again. We will be left in a lonely, dark neighborhood. So if we aren't hitting the great attractor, what is our immediate destination then in that case? So in about 4.5 billion years, our own galaxy has a date with destiny. The Andromeda galaxy is currently heading straight for us at 110 kilometers per second, very high speed. This isn't a crash, it's a dance. The two galaxies will pass through each other, their stars rarely colliding because the space is so empty. Gravity will eventually pull them back together, merging them into a single massive elliptical galaxy dubbed as Milkomeda. By the time this happens, our sun will have become a red giant, likely swallowing the Earth. The solar system as we know it will be done. But the atoms that made up our body will be part of the brand new giant star system. But where does the journey finally end? If the expansion continues forever, we reach the ultimate destination, the big freeze, also known as the heat death of the universe. As the space stretches, the gas needed to create stars become too thin. One by one, the light of the universe goes out. The stelliferous era ends, which is known for star formation, and therefore the stars will stop forming. And the degenerate era will begin. Only white dwarf, neutron stars, and black hole will remain. The black hole era will be the third one, when black holes eventually evaporate through Hawking radiation. So what is left? A universe at a uniform temperature of nearly absolute zero, no energy, no movement, no time. Everything that was once a planet, a person, or a galaxy will be reduced to thin mist of photons and electrons drifting in an infinite cold dark. It sounds bleak, but look at in another way. We are living in the golden age of the universe, a brief, brilliant window where the stars are close enough to see and the galaxies are close enough to touch. Everything is moving away, yes, but that makes the fact that we are here right now witnessing it, and all the more miraculous things are going to happen in the near future. We might not like where the universe is going, but we can only imagine what a view we have on the way there, right? So friends, thanks for watching, and if you want to keep exploring the edge of the cosmos, subscribe and join for the next journey. Until next time, before we wind up today's session, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, It is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
For years, Anthropic Claude was known for as a conversational powerhouse on AI that could reason, that could assist, and also solve the complex tasks. But today, in 2026, the company has decided to redraw the boundaries of creativity. With the debut of Claude Design, Anthropic actually has stepped boldly into the visual arena, and where it offers the tool that transform and to the plain language into a polished and presentation, prototype, and marketing visual. This is not just another AI feature, but it is reimagination of how the idea takes shape. No templates, no plain canvases, just words flowing into images. For entrepreneurs, for educators, and the creators, Claude Design promises speed and accessibility. And for a design industry, it raises the questions about the originality and artistry and the role of human imagination in the era of machine learning, machine marketing, visual. So let's find out more about this.
हेलो दोस्तों, नमस्कार। आप सबका स्वागत है। क्या आप एक सीईओ या बिजनेस लीडर हैं और हर दिन चुनौतियों का सामना कर रहे हैं? तो आप सही जगह पहुंचे हैं, क्योंकि इस वीडियो में हम भगवत गीता की सहायता लेंगे और आपकी इस सिचुएशन का आंसर ढूंढने की कोशिश करेंगे। हम ये जानेंगे कि जो सीख मिलती है हमें भगवत गीता से, वो एक मंत्र युद्ध क्षेत्र में एप्लीकेबल ही नहीं है, बल्कि हर एंटरप्रेन्योर के लिए एक जीवन दर्शन है जो आपकी टीम का नेतृत्व में करने में सहायता करता है। चाहे जीत हो या हार, एक लीडर को अपनी निष्ठा, कर्म पर कैसे निगाह रखनी चाहिए, हम इस वीडियो में सीखेंगे और इसके बारे में और डिस्कशन करेंगे। तो चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं। तो दोस्तों, आजकल के दुनिया में, आजकल के परिप्रेक्ष्य में हम ऐसी एक रेस में हैं जहां जीतना ही सब कुछ है, जीतना ही अनिवार्य है। एक सीईओ के तौर पे आप हर सुबह एक नई चुनौती, एक नए संकट और एक नए डर के साथ उठते हैं। क्या ये मर्जर काम आएगा? मार्केट शेयर बढ़ेगा? क्या मेरी टीम परफॉर्म करेगी? हम सब अक्सर एक तनाव में जीते हैं। अगर मैं हार गया तो क्या होगा? अगर ये डिसीजन गलत हो गया तो क्या होगा? लेकिन आज मैं आपके साथ बिजनेस का एक ऐसा सीक्रेट कोड शेयर करने वाला हूं जो 5000 साल पहले महाभारत के रण क्षेत्र में दिया गया था। यह सिर्फ एक श्लोक ही नहीं, एक आधुनिक कॉर्पोरेट जगत का सबसे बड़ा रिस्क मैनेजमेंट टूल है। ध्यान से सुनिएगा। आज हम चर्चा करेंगे भगवत गीता के अध्याय 2 श्लोक 37, चैप्टर 2 वर्स 37 की। और इस श्लोक आपको सिखाएगा कि कैसे विन विन माइंडसेट के साथ आप अपनी कंपनी और अपने जीवन को लीड कर सकते हैं। तो आइए पहले श्लोक को हम पढ़ लेते हैं। भगवान कृष्ण अर्जुन से कहते हैं, एंड द कोट स्टार्ट्स, यदि तुम लड़ते हुए हार भी गए तो तुम्हें स्वर्ग मिलेगा। यानी आपको वो अनुभव और सीख मिलेगी जो आपको उच्च स्तर का लीडर बनाएंगे और आपको ऊंचाई पे ले जाएंगे। और यदि तुम जीत गए तो इस पृथ्वी पर सुख भोगोगे, यानी सफलता, प्रॉफिट एंड मार्केट लीडरशिप आपकी होगी। तो ये आपको बता रहा है कि दोनों ही सिचुएशन में विन विन है। तो दोस्तों, अगर आप यहाँ तक पहुँचे हैं तो आप बताइए कमेंट करके कि किस सिटी से आप हमारे इस वीडियो को देख रहे हैं। तो चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं। हम सब ने इस वर्ष को सुना, जरा रुकिए और सोचिए, भगवान कृष्ण यहाँ अर्जुन से क्या कह रहे हैं? वो कह रहे हैं कि हारने का विकल्प ही खत्म कर दो। अर्जुन, कृष्ण के लिए हार जैसा कुछ है ही नहीं। अगर तुम हारते हो तो तुम कुछ सीखते हो, अगर तुम जीतते हो तो तुम कुछ हासिल करते हो। तो सीईओ के तौर पे क्या आपकी लाइफ में हार जैसी कोई चीज है या नहीं? अगर कोई प्रोजेक्ट फेल होता है तो आप एक लीडर के रूप में विकसित होते हैं, आप नई चीजें सीखते हैं, अपनी असफलता से आगे बढ़ते हैं। अगर सफल होते हैं तो आपकी कंपनी विकसित होती है। तो इस श्लोक में हम हमें अपनी कॉर्पोरेट लाइफ को कैसे लागू करें, किस तरह से अपना माइंडसेट करें, इस चीज की हमें सीख दी गई है। तो इसमें मुख्य हमें क्या सीख मिल रही है? नंबर 1 इज डर का अंत। जब आप स्वीकार कर लेते हैं कि सीखना भी एक जीत है तो डर खत्म हो जाता है। एक सीईओ को जो डर में फैसला लेता है वो कभी बड़े रिस्क नहीं ले पाता। तो गीता आपको सिखाती है कि रिस्क लेना ही आपका धर्म है। नंबर 2, परिणाम से डिटैचमेंट। डिटैचमेंट जो आउटकम है, जो रिजल्ट है, उससे डिटैच हो जाइए आप। भगवान कृष्ण कहते हैं कि यानी कि अगर आप लड़ना ही नहीं करेंगे तो आपको कोई परिणाम मिलेगा ही नहीं। तो आप लड़िए। अगर आप हारते हैं तो कुछ सीखते हैं, और अगर आप जीतते हैं तो आप डेफिनेटली सक्सेस पाते हैं। लेकिन हार जीत आपके कंट्रोल में नहीं है, तो क्यों उस बारे में सोचना? 100% आपके कंट्रोल में नहीं होता। आपको अपना कर्म करना होता है, कर्तव्य करना होता है। लेकिन क्या हार मिलेगी, क्या जीत, इसका फैसला कोई नहीं कर सकता। इसका फैसला सिर्फ यूनिवर्स के हाथ में है, जो हमारे कंट्रोल से बाहर है। अब तीसरा होता है विन विन फॉर्मूला। आज की दुनिया में हम विन लॉस के बारे में सोचते हैं। मुझे जीतना है हर हालत में, सामने वाले को हारना है हर हालत में। लेकिन गीता आपको क्या ज्ञान देती है? विन विन का क्या मतलब है? अपनी ड्यूटी मतलब अपना कर्म आपको पूरा करना है। अपनी पूरी क्षमता के साथ मैदान में उतरें, बाकी परिणाम अपने आप संभल जाएगा। अपने आप यूनिवर्स आपको दे देगा। आपके एक्शन के ऊपर डिपेंड करता है वो। तो कल सुबह जब आप ऑफिस जाएं तो ये 3 चीजें अपने साथ लेके जाएं। मैं बुलेट पॉइंट्स की तरह आपको ये दे रहा हूं। पॉइंट नंबर 1, अपने हर प्रोजेक्ट को एक धर्म युद्ध की तरह देखें। यह आपकी जिम्मेदारी है। जब आप इसे जिम्मेदारी की तरह देखेंगे तो आप हारने से नहीं डरेंगे। आप सिर्फ अपनी ड्यूटी निभाने पर फोकस करेंगे। बुलेट पॉइंट नंबर 2, अपने फेलियर्स को हेवनली गेन के रूप में देखें। हर बड़ी कंपनी जो आज लीडर है, उसने सैकड़ों बार फेलियर का स्वाद चखा है। उन फेलियर्स को स्टार्टअप या लर्निंग की तरह देखा जाए। बुलेट पॉइंट नंबर 3, निर्णय लेने में देरी ना करें। श्लोक के अंत में भगवान कृष्ण कहते हैं, उठो, यानी एक्शन लो। एनालिसिस में फंसे रहोगे तो मैदान में कब उतरोगे? दोस्तों, एक सीईओ के रूप में सबसे बड़ी पूंजी आपकी मानसिक स्टेट ऑफ माइंड है, मानसिक स्थिरता है। अगर आप हार के डर से जकड़े हुए हैं तो आप कभी बड़ी ऊंचाइयों को हासिल नहीं कर पाएंगे। आज से अपनी डिक्शनरी में फेलियर शब्द को हटा दीजिए और आप ये समझ लीजिए कि आप जीतेंगे, हर हाल में जीतेंगे। और अपने जो थॉट प्रोसेस है उसको अपग्रेड करिए। तो इसमें भगवान बोलते हैं कि उठो, फाइट करो और जीतो। अगर आपको ये विन विन श्लोक का जो इम्प्लीमेंटेशन है बिजनेस फील्ड में अगर पसंद आया है तो कमेंट करके ये लिखें कि मैं तैयार हूँ, और हाँ, मैं तैयार हूँ, ये कमेंट करके आप मेरे पास भेजें। और अगर आपको लगता है कि गीता का ज्ञान बिजनेस में उतारने के लिए आप और डिटेल चाहते हैं तो जरूर हमसे संपर्क करें। माय नेम इज सीके। जल्दी ही मिलता हूँ दूसरी सीख लेके आपके साथ। तब तक उठो, लड़ो और जीतो। धन्यवाद। नमस्कार दोस्तों, आप सभी का स्वागत है। और आज 1 जून है, 1 जून, और आज तो सोमवार है। तो ये शंकर भगवान का दिन है। तो हम अपना दिन शुरू करने से पहले हम भगवान की स्तुति करेंगे और उसके बाद अपना दिन चालू करेंगे। तो आप सब मेरे साथ जुड़ें और हमेशा की तरह हम इस काउंटर को यूज़ करेंगे जिसमें ये नंबर आ जाते हैं और ये पता चलता है कि हमने कितनी दफ़ा हमने भगवान की पूजा की है। तो एक बहुत ही साधारण सा भगवान शंकर का, शिव भगवान का एक मंत्र है जो हम 11 दफ़ा करेंगे। हम इस काउंटर जैसे मैंने बताया, आप कैसे भी कर सकते हैं, कोई सा भी आपका प्रोसेस हो वैसा आप फॉलो कर सकते हैं। तो हम स्तुति स्टार्ट करते हैं। आप भी हमारे साथ जुड़ें और भगवान का नमन करते हुए हम अपना दिन शुरू करते हैं। चलिए शुरू करते हैं। ओम त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्युमोक्षीयमामृतात् सज्ञो जातं प्रपागमि भगवान् मृत्युं जय शिवम् अवयामि। ओम त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धया मृत्युमोक्षीयमामृतात् सज्ञो जातं प्रपागमि भगवान् मृत्युं जय शिवम् अवयामि। ओम त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्युमोक्षीयमामृतात् सज्ञो जातं प्रपागमि भगवान् मृत्युं जय शिवम् अवयामि। ओम त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्युमोक्षीयमामृतात् सज्ञो जातं प्रपागमि भगवान् मृत्युं जय शिवम् अवयामि। ओम त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्युमोक्षीयमामृतात् सज्ञो जातं प्रपागमि भगवान् मृत्युं जय शिवम् अवयामि। ओम त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्युमोक्षीयमामृतात् सज्ञो जातं प्रपागमि भगवान् मृत्युं जय शिवम् अवयामि। ओम त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्युमोक्षीयमामृतात् सज्ञो जातं प्रपागमि भगवान् मृत्युं जय शिवम् अवयामि। ओम त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्युमोक्षीयमामृतात् सज्ञो जातं प्रपागमि भगवान् मृत्युं जय शिवम् अवयामि। ओम त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्युमोक्षीयमामृतात् सज्ञो जातं प्रपागमि भगवान् मृत्युं जय शिवम् अवयामि। ओम त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्युमोक्षीयमामृतात् सज्ञो जातं प्रपागमि भगवान् मृत्युं जय शिवम् अवयामि। ओम त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्युमोक्षीयमामृतात् सज्ञो जातं प्रपागमि भगवान् मृत्युं जय शिवम् अवयामि। जय भोलेनाथ, जय भोलेनाथ। तो हमारी आज की 1 जून की जो स्तुति थी, पूजा थी, वो संपन्न हुई और हमने भगवान शिव को याद किया, 11 दफ़ा उनका मंत्र जाप किया। तो दोस्तों अब हम आपसे इस वीडियो में विदा लेते हैं। जल्दी ही मिलते हैं दूसरे वीडियो में। आपका दिन मंगलमय हो। नमस्कार। Hello friends, welcome and namaskaram. Let me ask you, is the era of the crude oil reaching its sunset? In a provocative new market analysis, Morgan Stanley has declared that the salt is the new oil, signaling a fundamental shift in the global energy landscape. In this episode of Akulmach, we decode the strategic move behind this bold prediction. We were moving beyond the traditional commodity talk to explore why sodium ion technology is poised to disrupt the battery market, why major institutions are pivoting their long term resources and strategy towards the humble salt mine. Let's go. For over a century, the global economy has been fueled by a single substance. It's dictated borders, fueled wars, built empires, and defined the 20th century. We call it black gold. But what if I told you that the most powerful financial minds at Morgan Stanley are looking at the future where that black gold is being challenged by something you probably have in your kitchen right now? Yes, you heard it correctly. It is salt. Morgan Stanley has dropped the bombshell prediction. Salt is the new oil. It sounds hyperbolic, almost ridiculous at first, but when you look at the supply chain, the battery technology, and the massive shift in the global energy strategy, it starts to make sense. So, friends, before we move forward, if you have reached so far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Now, let us continue with our discussion. We aren't just talking about table salt, we are talking about sodium ion revolution. Let's decode this strategy. Segment 1 is the limitation of the lithium age. To understand why Morgan Stanley is making this call, we have to look at our current bottleneck, which is lithium. The transition to electric vehicle and the massive energy storage grid has been built entirely on the lithium ion batteries. But there is a massive problem. Lithium is expensive, it's geopolitically concentrated, and it is notoriously difficult to mine and refine. We are effectively trading one scarce geopolitical sensitive resource, oil, for another, which is lithium. The market knows this. Investors are tired of the volatility. They are looking for an alternative, and that is abundant, cheap, and decentralized. Salt, especially sodium, is everywhere. Unlike lithium, which is concentrated in specific triangle region of the world, salt can be found in almost every country on earth. It's cheap to extract, easy to process, and it does not require the same toxic environment footprint that we see with deep pit lithium mining. Morgan Stanley is essentially betting on the democratization of energy storage. If you can build a battery using sodium, you don't need to rely on supply chain that currently controls the battery market. And now with this, let's move to the next phase, which is the physics and the logic. So how does it actually works? This isn't just theoretical. Sodium ion battery technology has been in development for years, but the economics have been recently shifted to make it much more viable. The beauty of sodium is its stability. It performs better in cold weather than lithium, a huge factor for the automotive market. And it's inherently safer. While energy density is slightly lower than lithium for stationary storage, think powering a data center or a home backup system, sodium is absolutely winner. Think of it this way. Lithium is for high performance smartphones in your pocket. Sodium is for your massive power grids and electric trucks that move the global economy. So, Morgan Stanley analysts are looking at the scale. The future of the global economy isn't just about high speed EVs, it's about energy infrastructure. And when you calculate the cost per kilowatt hour at a global scale, sodium doesn't just compete with lithium, it threatens to dominate it. Next is the strategic shift and the geopolitics. Now, let's look at this through the lens of a business strategy. When a major institution like Morgan Stanley makes a prediction like this, they aren't just talking about batteries, they are talking about reshuffling of the global balance of power. If the energy storage becomes cheap and abundant because of salt, the geopolitical power of countries that currently control the rare earth and lithium supply chains start to diminish. It's a total decentralization of energy empire. So we often discuss the logistics empire on this channel. This is the ultimate logistic disruption. So if you can create energy security using a resource that is abundant within our own borders, why would you ever go to the current fragile global supply chain? It's about resilience. It's about unshakable, leadership. The leaders who recognize this shift now, before it becomes mainstream news, are the ones who will secure the supply chain for the next decade. And the philosophical perspective also is important. There is a lesson here that reminds us about the ancient wisdom we often explore on the channel. We talk about equanimity, staying steady in the face of change. The markets are currently experiencing a frantic gold rush for batteries, but the unshakable market player doesn't chase the noise. They look for the foundation. They look for the substance that is quite abundant and enduring. Perhaps the reason, reason that salt is the new oil isn't just about batteries. It's about the value of simplicity. In a world of complex, volatile, and expensive system, sometimes the most disruptive innovation is the one that was right in front of us the whole time. Is this just a speculative bubble, or are we witnessing the beginning of sodium era? I want to hear from you. Do you think salt will actually replace oil, or is the infrastructure barrier too high? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's debate about this data. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe our channel. We cover the intersection of business, astronomy, tech, and the future of human progress. So don't want to miss our next broadcast. Definitely you want to hit that bell icon as well. I'm CK and I will see you very soon in the next one, my friends. नमस्कार। अब हम भगवान विष्णु की पूजा प्रारंभ करेंगे। हमने अपना काउंटर अपने हाथ में ले लिया है। एक मंत्र का उच्चारण करेंगे, 11 दफा करेंगे और आप भी अपने हाथ जोड़ लीजिए, नमन करिए भगवान का। और अब हम शुरू करते हैं। ओम नमो वासुदेवाय नमः। 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 तो दोस्तों, आज हमारी पूजा यहीं पे समाप्त होती है और हम अपना दिन शुरू करेंगे। इस आशा के साथ हम आपसे विदा लेते हैं कि आपका दिन मंगलमय हो। हर हर महादेव। Hello friends, let me ask you, can the ancient wisdom solve the modern leadership crisis? In this video, we dive deep into Bhagavad Gita. And friends, as you know, Bhagavad Gita is 7,000-year-old manuscript, and some of the teachings in Bhagavad Gita can be directly related to the modern day CEOs and entrepreneurs. While the corporate world focuses on the external ROIs, the Gita point towards the ultimate ROI, which is transitioning from material containment to absolute clarity. Let us discuss this further. In the corner office of any major corporation, the metrics are always the same, which is EBITDA, market share, quarterly growth, and the shareholder value. We call this the return on investment. But there is a hidden tax being paid every single day that doesn't show up on a balance sheet. It is a tax of the cluttered mind. Think about your last major decision. Was it made with 100% clarity, or was it colored by the fatigue of the previous meetings, anxiety of fluctuating markets, or perhaps the flicker of ego? Most leaders operate in a state of what the Bhagavad Gita calls material contamination. In modern terms, we call it cognitive noise. Today, we are going to take a look at 7,000-year-old formula that offers a different kind of ROI. We are looking at chapter 6, verse 28 of Bhagavad Gita. It is a verse that promises not just success, but the ultimate happiness, and for a CEO, that might be most strategic advantage you can possess. Alright, so friends, if you have reached this far, please let us know from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching our live stream. Alright, let's move ahead. Let's look at the verse itself. And the verse says, quote starts, the yogic practice free from material contamination, and by connecting with the divine, he reaches the ultimate happiness. Quote close. Alright, so this, this sounds like something like a yogic practice for a busy executive, and divine might sound like they are being asked to go to a mountain retreat and not to a boardroom. But let's translate this into the language of leadership. The verse identify three distinct stages. First, the process, a yogic practice which require consistent mental discipline. Number two, the result, the freedom from contamination, which is removal of all biases and noise. Three, the goal, the ultimate happiness, which is a state of peak performance and flow. And therefore, for a CEO, this is something which is not just spiritual. It is a blueprint of the operational, operational side of your activities, right? Don't you think so? All right. So this is going to also, improve your excellence in yourself. What does the Gita mean by contamination in the context of 21st century company? Contamination is anything that obscure your true vision in the boardroom. This looks like ego trap. And, there are several things attached to the ego trap. First is making decision to win an argument rather than to serve the company's mission. Second is analysis paralysis, being so bogged down by data that you lose your intuitiveness, gut feeling, etc. Third is the emotional residue, carrying the frustration of a failed merger into your dinner with your family, or worse, into your next strategic session. When a CEO is contaminated, they are reactive. When you are reactive, you are predictable. And in business, being predictable is a liability. The Gita suggests that through yogic practice, which can be defined as structured meditation, mindfulness, and radical self-awareness, we begin to filter this contamination. Imagine your mind as a lens. Over years of high-stress leadership, that lens gets covered in dust. This verse is about daily habit of wiping the lens clean. The verse mentioned, contact with divine, etc. The word of high performance, we have a different word for this, which is flow. And it is that state where the self vanishes, the time slows down, and you execute with effortless precision. But there is a deeper layer here. For a CEO, connecting with the divine can be interpreted as connecting with the highest purpose. When a leader is connected to a purpose greater than their own paycheck or their own reputation, something shifts. This connection provides a steady anchor. And if the market crashes, the anchor holds. If the media attacks, the anchor holds. Why? Because your sense of ultimate happiness is no longer tied to the external material world. It is, it is sourced from an internal connection to the truth. This is the ultimate ROI. And if you cannot be shaken by external volatility, you become most stable point in your organization. Everyone else will look towards you to see how you react. If you are connected to that inner clarity, your organization stays calm. So how does a CEO actually do this? We don't expect you to move the Himalayas. The Gita was spoken on a battlefield, not a yoga studio. It is a manual for the people in the thick of fight. Certain things you can do, something like you can actually plan your stillness. Treat your meditation or reflection time like a board meeting. You wouldn't skip a meeting with your top investor. Don't skip the meeting with your inner self. This is where the cleaning happens. The contamination check is the second step. Before every major meeting, ask yourself, is there a contamination within you? Am I angry? Am I seeking validation? Identify the noise and it loses its power over you. Leading from sukha, which is happiness, most leaders believe happiness comes after the success. Verse 28 flips that script. It says the practice lead to happiness, and happiness is the foundation for everything else. Lead from a place of fulfillment, and your decisions will be more sustainable and ethical. We live in an era of a hyper contamination, information overload, social media pressures, and relentless pace of AI are making clarity harder to find than ever before, right? The CEO of the future is not the one with the most data. It is the one with the cleanest lens. By practicing the principle of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 28, you aren't just becoming a better spiritual person. You are becoming more effective, more resilient, and more visionary leader. You are trading the temporary high of material gains for the ultimate happiness and for a clear mind. This is the ultimate ROI, and we have come to the end of our discussion today. Thanks for joining live. Thanks for listening. Now, go back to your desk, take a deep breath, and remove contamination from your mind. Lead with clarity. So, friends, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to send it across. Before I move on to the next topic, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Friends, is the mystery of our third interstellar visitor has finally been solved. In this video, we dive deep into the groundbreaking discovery of 3I Atlas and the incredible journey astronomers took to trace its path back to its source. For years, we wondered where this high-speed wanderer originated, but the answer, may lie in chilling than ever imagined. Okay. Well, imagine a world where Harry Potter and the Top Gun live under the same roof, right? And where the gritty prestige of HBO and the massive broadcast reach of CBS are controlled by the same board of directors. Well, stop imagining. On April 20th, 2026, the media landscape shifted on its axis. Warner Brothers Discovery shareholder officially voted to approve a massive $110 billion merger with Paramount Skydance. It is a deal that essentially kills the streaming war, as we know them from the last decade. We aren't just looking at another merger, we are looking at the birth of media titans specifically designed to survive the wreckage of the peak TV era. But this wasn't a smooth ride. It involved a hostile bid, a rejected offer from Netflix, and a shareholder revolt over executive payouts that would make Roman Emperor blush. Today we are breaking down the WBD Paramount Power Play. What happens to the Max and Paramount Plus? Why does the shareholder reject David Zaslav's massive bonus? And most importantly, how does this affect your subscription bill? So friends, if you have reached this far, please let us know from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Now, let's talk money. Paramount Skydance, led by David Allison, is acquiring 100% of the Warner Brothers Discovery. The price tag? What is this price tag? It is $31 per share in cash. When you factor this WBD significant debt, the total enterprise value hit a staggering $111 billion. This wasn't WBD's first choice. Earlier this year, Netflix actually tried to swoop in $72 billion bid for just the studio and the streaming assets. But Paramount went for the all or nothing strategy. They didn't just want the movies, they wanted the cable network, the news, and the sports. By February 27th, Netflix blinked. They cited capital discipline and walked away. Paramount, backed by Allison family, which is, of course, you know Allison, right? The Larry Ellison family. Larry Ellison is the founder of Oracle, also very, very famous entrepreneur, globally known. And Redbird Capital. They both stepped up with the cash. WBD shareholders are now overwhelmingly given their blessings with 1.7 billion votes in favor. However, the deal isn't closed yet. It's expected to finalize in Q3 of 2026, pending some very intense regulatory scrutiny. So what does this mean? It's all about synergy. The goal here is to create a next generation media company. Think about the intellectual property, which is IP library, they now control together as one entity. We're talking about DC Universe meeting Mission Impossible, right? The Game of Thrones alongside Star Trek, SpongeBob, SquarePants, Sesame Street under one banner. But the biggest change for us as a consumer, the super streamer, managed by the combined entity, and the people who are going to manage this whole thing have already hinted that Max and Paramount Plus will eventually merge into a single platform. For the companies, this saves billions, specifically 6 billion annually by this change. Alright, so they no longer have to pay for the two separate tech stacks, two marketing departments, or two set of overhead. For the viewer, it means one app to rule, to view all of them, to rule all of them. But it also means less competition. which historically lead to, you guessed it, price hike. So if there is no competition, they have consolidated the market. They are free to put any price tag, whatever they want, right? There is no pressure from the market. So if there is one thing that keeps the lights on the old media, it's the live sports. And this merger creates an absolute juggernaut. Combined WBD and Paramount now holds the right to the NFL via CBS, NCAA March Madness, NHL and MLB championship leagues, the Olympic internationally and the PGA tours and UFC. In a world where Amazon and Apple are trying to buy their way into sports, this combined entity becomes the must-have partner for every major league. They have the broadcast reach of CBS for the big games and streaming flexibility of Max for everything else. This is their shield against Netflix, which has only recently started dipping its toes into live events. Now, let's get to the spicy part. While the shareholder loved the deal, they hate the exit packages. WBD CEO David Zaslav, a man often criticized for his aggressive cost-cutting and vaulting of completed films, was lined up for a golden parachute worth $850 million as an exit for himself. At the special meeting on April 23rd, shareholder voted forcefully against these executive payouts. 1.4 billion votes were casted against the compensation packages. Now, here is the kicker. The vote is non-binding. Technically, board can still pay him, but the message is clear. Hollywood creators and investors alike are tired of seeing massive executive bonuses while the industry suffers through layoffs and budget cuts. Even Hollywood legends like Denis Villeneuve and David Fincher signed an open letter opposing the consolidation, fearing it will lead to fewer choices and less creative freedom. So, is the deal done? Not quite. The US Department of Justice and the UK regulatory bodies are currently looking at this with a magnifying glass. Senators like Elizabeth Warren have already called it an antitrust disaster that threatens to raise prices for American families. If the deal doesn't close by September 30th, a ticking fee kick in Paramount will have to pay WBD shareholders an extra 25 cents per share every quarter. It's a massive incentive to get across the finish line fast. The streaming war started as a race to see who could spend most money to get the most subscribers. This merger proves that the race is over. The new game is now known as survival. By joining forces, WBD and Paramount aren't trying to win the war. They're trying to make sure they are the last ones standing. So what do you think, friends? Is this a super streamer you have been waiting for? Or are we just watching the slow death of a variety in Hollywood? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay updated on the most massive media mergers of our lifetime. And I will see you again in the next one. Before I go, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Friends, the mystery of our third interstellar visitor has finally been solved. In this video, we dive into the groundbreaking discovery of 3I Atlas and the incredible journey astronomers took to trace its path back to its source. For years, we wondered where this high-speed wanderer originated, but the answer is more chilling than we ever imagined. While Oumuamua and Borisov gave us the glimpse into the other star systems, 3I Atlas is different. New data reveals it was born in an environment of absolute extremes and extreme cold galactical origins that challenges everything we know about how comets and the planetary system forms. Let us explore this further. In the vast silence of ocean of the cosmos, things usually stay in their place. Stars keep their clusters, planets follow their tracks, but every once in a while, a ghost appears, a wanderer. In 2017, we saw Oumuamua, a bizarre cigar-shaped shard that defied explanation. In 2019, we saw 2I Borisov, a rogue comet that looked familiar but felt alien. But now in 2026 we have the third visitor, which is 3I Atlas. In fact 2025, but we are still tracking in 2026. When it first appeared in 2025 July 1st, we knew it was fast, we knew it was big. But as it sped past our sun and began its long journey back into the void, it left us a parting gift, a chemical fingerprint. For months, the world's most powerful telescopes from Alama Array in high desert of Chile or the James Webb Space Telescope have been staring at this frozen traveler. And the data just came back, and we are now finally, we know where the 3I Atlas came from. And this truth is, it is colder than anything we have ever imagined. Alright, so friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. To understand why 3I Atlas is so terrifying, we have to look at what it is. Astronomer calls it an interstellar object. It wasn't born in our solar system. It didn't form near Jupiter or just in the Oort cloud. It's an immigrant from another star system, likely ejected billions of years ago. On April 24th, 2026, a team from the University of Michigan, led by astronomers Teresa Caureno and Luis Salazar Manzano, published a paper in Nature Astronomy that changed everything. They weren't just looking at the comet's shape, they were looking at its heavy water, specifically, deuterated water, or HDO. In our solar system, comets have a specific ratio of regular water to heavy water. It's like a biological signature of our sun's birth. But 3i Atlas was different. Its ratio of heavy water is 30 times higher than any comet in our solar system, and it is 40 times higher than the water in our own oceans. This isn't just a slight difference. This is a neon sign screaming that this object was born in an environment we can barely comprehend. So what does this heavy water ratio tells us? It's a thermometer for the deep past. Chemical processes that create this much deuterium only happens in extreme conditions, specifically temperatures below 30 Kelvin. That is minus 406 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 253 degrees Celsius. Imagine a place so cold that even the atoms themselves seems to move in slow motion. This is where 3i Atlas was born. But here is a kicker. Astronomers think it didn't just come from a cold planet. It likely came from a loner star. Our sun was born in a crowded nursery surrounded by sibling stars that provided heat and radiation. But the home star of 3i Atlas, it was like outcast born in a dark, isolated corners of the Milky Way, where there was no other star keeping the neighborhood warm. Scientists are calling it a cold galactic origin. This comet is essentially a 10 billion year old ice cube that has preserved the chemistry of a dead, frozen era of our galaxy. If the temperature doesn't haunt you, the age will definitely do. Our sun is roughly 4.6 billion years old, and we think, that is ancient. But 3i Atlas initially estimated that it could be 11 billion years old. Think about that. When 3i Atlas was forming in its dark, frozen cradle, the Earth didn't even exist. Our sun didn't exist. The Milky was a completely different shape. This object has been drifting through the vacuum of space for twice as long as our entire world has been alive. It is a cosmic fossil. It has survived the death of its home star, the collision of galaxies, and the slow expansion of the universe, all to end up in our backyard for a brief month, right? You might be wondering, why does it matter if the rock is cold and old? It matters because 3i Atlas is the mirror. By studying its chemistry, we aren't just learning about the random comet, we are learning about the diversity of the universe. Until now, we thought our solar system's recipe was standard. We thought water was simply water. But 3i Atlas shows us that there are regions of galaxy where building block of life are fundamentally different. If the comet had crashed into a young planet in its home system, that planet would have ocean filled with heavy water. Would life even be possible there? Or would it be a world of heavy biology fundamentally incompatible with us? As we speak, 3i Atlas is moving at 137,000 miles per hour. It has already passed Jupiter. It is heading back into the interstellar dark, away from the warmth of our sun that briefly woke it up from its long slumber. We may never see it again. In a few years, it will be just another data point in our archives, but it leaves us with a terrifying, beautiful realization: the universe is much, much bigger, much older, and much colder than we dare to believe. We have just, warm up little campfire in a very, very cold forest, right? So friends, what do you think about this? If you have any question, do not hesitate to send it across. Thanks for joining live. Thanks for watching. And if you want to keep up with the latest from the deep freeze of space, hit that subscribe button and stay curious. This next visitor could be the right around the corner. So friends, see you in the next one. But before I leave, a word from our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
In the hushed chamber of Ming era medicine, where the wisdom was linked on scrolls and remedies brewed in porcelain jars, a startling secret has resurfaced. An anesthetic formula centuries ahead of its time. More than a potion, it was a calculated blend of herbs, philosophy designed to silence the pain and study the spirit. This discovery does not just rewrite medical history, it reveals a civilization that understood the delicate frontier between consciousness and oblivion, compassion and science. So the Ming dynasty, often celebrated for its art and for its architecture, now stands illuminated as a pioneer in surgical sophistication. A proof that the quest to ease human suffering is as old as civilization itself. So let's find out more about this. The corridors of history often conceal treasures that redefine our understanding of human ingenuity. One such revelation has emerged from Ming Dynasty, where the scholars have uncovered evidence of sophisticated anesthetic use centuries before the modern medicine codified the practice. This discovery does more than enrich the annals of pharmacology. It illuminates the depth of Chinese medicine philosophy and its seamless blend of science, ritual, and pragmatism. So the Ming era, spanning 14th to 17th centuries, was a period of flourishing scholarships and innovations and the cultural refinement. Physicians of the time were heirs of millennia of accumulated wisdom and drawing from the classical text of Han Dynasty and practical refinement of Song era healers. So yet that what sets this anesthetic apart is its demonstration of deliberate calculated approach to pain management. Far from being a crude concoction, it was actually carefully blended mixture of herbal compound designed to dull the sensation, calm the spirit, and allow surgical interventions to proceed with minimal suffering. So, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us to determine the reach of our channel. Now, moving forward. Archaeological and textual evidence suggest that the anesthetic combined with ingredients like wine, opium, derivatives, and a specific herb known for their seductive properties. So these formulas were not accidental. It is reflected a nuanced understanding of pharmacodynamics and even if it expressed in the language of yin and yang and the five elements. So this is how things is being expressed and defined. So physicians recognized that certain substance could quiet the heart and soften the sinews, and metaphors that today translates into seduction and muscle relaxation. So the sophistication lies in the precision. Doses were calibrated to induce unconsciousness without tipping into a fatal toxicity, a balance that modern anesthesiology still grapple with. So the discovery also reframes our perception of Ming era surgeries. So while often imagined as a limited to caution related or superficial procedures, records now suggest that more invasive operations were attempted in those days and supported by anesthetic techniques. So dental extraction and access drainage of these acids and even the rudimentary abdominal interventions may have been performed under the veil of this herbal seduction. So the anesthetic was not merely a tool, actually. It was a gateway enabling physician to push the boundaries of what was surgically possible in their time. So equally compelling is the cultural context. So in Ming philosophy, medicine was never actually divorced from the morality and cosmology. The act of easing the pain was not only a technical achievement but a moral duty aligned with the Confucian ideals of benevolence and Taoist principle of harmony. So administrating anesthetic was thus both a scientific act and a ritual of compassion, and reinforcing the physician's role as a guardian of balance between body, spirit, and society. For the modern science, the implications are profound. So this anesthetic challenges the narrative that places the birth of anesthesia in 19th century with ether and chloroform. Instead, it actually reveals a parallel lineage of innovation in the East, where the empirical observation and the herbal experimentation also laid the groundwork for the pain management centuries earlier. So it also invites a contemporary pharmacologist to revisit the ancient formula with a fresh eye. What compounds might still hold an untapped potential for modern therapeutics? So that is one thing which everybody, especially the physicians, need to study about this. So in a broader sweep of history, the Ming anesthetic is a reminder that the progress is rarely linear or isolated. Civilizations across the globe have wrestled with some fundamental questions. How do we alleviate suffering, or how do we decrease the suffering and elevate the kind of health of mankind? How do we transform knowledge into healing? So the answer, whether inscribed in bamboo, slips, or parchment or digital code, the converge is the shared human pursuit of mastery over pain. So pain management is definitely a very, very deep, it gives a deep impact, and at the same time it requires a kind of a profound treatment by surgeons and doctors even today. So ultimately, the uncovering of this anesthetic is not just a scientific milestone. It is a testament of enduring sophistication of Chinese medicine. It shows that centuries ago, physicians were already navigating the delicate frontier between consciousness and oblivion, and wielding herbs and philosophy with a precision that resonates even today. So in their hand, the anesthesia was more than a chemistry. It was a compassion distilled into a practice, a bridge between tangible body and the intangible spirit. So, and in rediscovering this wisdom, we are reminded that the quest to heal is as ancient as civilization itself, and as timeless as the human desire to relieve, dignity, and care. So the rediscovery of this Ming era anesthesia is more than a historical curiosity. It is a reminder that compassion and innovation have always walked hand in hand. And centuries before ether and the chloroform, Chinese physicians were already navigating the fragile boundaries between pain and relief, body and the spirit. So their silence auxiliary actually revealed civilization and attuned but to the dignity of the patient and the whole practice of medicines, especially in pain management. In honoring their wisdom, we see that the pursuit of easing suffering is timeless and echoing across the ages as one of the humanity's most profound achievement. What do you feel about it? What do you say? What would like to add to this in the comments? So I look forward for your comments on this subject. So thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe our channel, and see you in the next one. But before we end, few words about our affiliate partner.